What is going on, everybody? We are back. Welcome to Rev Rock Revolution. My name is Nick Valley.
My name is Jonah Doc and I.
And this is...
We're...
Rev Rock Revolution.
I would scream, but I haven't done vocal warm-ups today.
It's okay. I felt like being like you today, so we both just gave the same energy. That was on purpose, ladies and gentlemen. We totally planned that. Welcome back to the show. We have a loaded episode for you guys today, so I kind of just want to dive right into it, Jonah, because we have so much to talk about. There's been many events that have gone on. We took a week off because of our busy lives and schedules. It just didn't pan out getting together.
Yeah.
But more has happened, so we have more to talk about. So this is what we call quality over quantity. Make every mistake intentional, Jonah. That's that's rule number one. Never admit to failure.
Yeah, we don't make mistakes, even though we've just been talking about mistakes for the first minute of this episode.
Exactly. That's what we call meta, ladies and gentlemen, and not just the company, which we're probably going to talk about in a future episode because there's a lot of just life to unpack. But today we're going to talk a lot about musical events because this is a music podcast, kind of, whether you believe that or not, based off several episodes you've seen. This show is about music, particularly rock, so we have a lot to talk about. The first thing I kind of want to touch on is the Grammys, Jonah. Now, before you can kind of tell our viewers where you are at with the Grammys, because what you were telling me before we started filming.
This is one of the first years where I haven't actually watched the Grammys because on Friday we had a Monsters of Metal show where I played 3 sets. I played with Cutie, Jinx, and X-Vamin, and then the next day we had a show in Sacramento, so I was completely done. I'm gonna use this opportunity to shout out. We released our single Voyage Unknown, X-Vamin, very very first single. We have a music video out as well that just dropped today.
And a video.
Yeah, but I was so exhausted that Sunday that I just slept the entire day, so I don't know anything that happened at the Grammys. Besides like a couple clips I've seen on TikTok. Go Kendrick Lamar.
TikTok, which I have deleted, by the way. If you ask why I don't post anything on TikTok anymore, it's because I deleted it. Happily. When the app was banned for literally less than a day.
Like 2
it was
seconds.
The shortest ban in history. That being said, it's gone from my life forever. So that's what we call a real ban. We're going to talk about the Grammys. A lot of this is going to be surprise reactions from Jonah, which is going to be a lot of fun. First thing we're going to talk about, we were kind of talking about this before the break. Let's just talk about the Rock Awards because this show is all about rock music and we vowed to bring that back this season. So that being said, we've done a Grammy review twice now since we've been a show. So this is pretty big of us.
Yeah.
That being said, the Rock Awards. First thing I want to touch on, we're going to get to what we were talking about before we started filming. Opinion on the Beatles winning a Grammy in the year 2025.
That is crazy to me. I mean, I'm not surprised. I kind of expected that because it's the Beatles, and what I've noticed with the Grammys is they kind of tend to turn towards not really the music aspect, more the like popularity.
100%.
But
it's all about just political validation. It has nothing to do with music quality anymore. Yeah.
But I think other bands deserved to, like, based off music, to win the Grammy.
Let's talk about the people who are up for best rock performance, and let's see who you would have picked. Dark Matter, Pearl Jam.
Okay.
Broken Man, St. Vincent. The American
I've never
Dream
heard of
is Killing
St.
Me.
Vincent before the Grammys. I've never heard, but when I listened to some of their stuff, I was like, that's actually really interesting.
St. Vincent's awesome. Yeah, Annie Clark, she's a pretty talented person. I watched her masterclass that she made a couple years ago. It's really good. Very fascinating individual, I just have to say. Like, does all DIY, their own production, like, it's pretty cool. Totally one person project. The American Dream is Killing Me, Green Day. And the Beatles, Now and Then. So I think I know who you pick here.
I would pick Green Day because I love their new album. That Saviors is one of my favorite Green Day albums. So I would have definitely picked The American Dream is Killing Me.
Me too, probably, to be honest. I've heard the Pearl Jam record was really good from some people that listened to it. I have yet to. St. Vincent is obviously... let's just talk about this with the Grammys real quick. In every single category, there's always, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's always, like, if there's 5 people nominated, there's the 4 popularity picks, and then there's the one no one, like a couple people have heard, like in every single category, right?
Yeah.
And this is not me knocking St. Vincent. It was fairly popular, but like out of those 4, she's significantly less popular than Pearl Jam, Green Day, and the
Yeah.
Beatles.
I feel like it's also like in a lot of the genres, or especially the rock ones that I've noticed in the past few years. There's always like legacy act, legacy act, legacy act, and then there's the one person that's like super popular nowadays with the younger generation that's not even in that genre. If that makes sense.
Yes, 100%. I think it's cool that the Beatles won a Grammy in 2024. I think it's like a cool story, like just the most culturally significant. Although I will point out that it is crazy to me. See, I have conflicted feelings about this because on one hand, they're like a super duper, out of anything we call a legacy act, they are the legacy act.
Yeah.
And for them to win a Grammy up against newer music is crazy to me. But them also to lose a Grammy to Record of the Year to 23-year-olds is also crazy to me. So like I have such conflicting feelings about that. I don't know what your take is on that, but like I don't know how to feel about that.
Wait, were the Beatles up for Record of the Year?
They were up for Record of the Year and they lost. So I have conflicted feelings about that. I want to get your opinion on this.
That's crazy. If Beatles won Record of the Year in 2025, that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
I think that it was probably a good thing that that they didn't win Record of the Year, because that would have blown, that would have been insane.
True.
And like that's
But
competing with so much, but also the Beatles, that song is better than
whoever
so
beats
much
the
of
Beatles should feel like shit about themselves. Like,
Yeah,
but
dude,
that's another important thing I kind of want to bring up. We're supposed to talk about all the Grammy moments, and we're still in the Beatles because of the Beatles. But
Yeah, it's
like,
the Beatles.
the thing that's funny to me is like nobody's even talking about that. Like no one's talking about the fact that, and we'll talk about Kendrick. We're gonna get to Kendrick Lamar in a second, but Kendrick Lamar beating the Beatles for an award. Like, no one's talking about that. Why are we the only people talking about that?
That's great. See, okay, if anyone was gonna beat the Beatles, I would have actually picked Kendrick Lamar. I'm gonna be honest. That dude is a genius when it comes to rap.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed our final episode. our all-out epic argument that will end this show. Here's the thing. No one's talking about the fact that that happened, though. And like just the cultural significance of that. And I think that brings up another culturally significant period in our life where we're at a period in time where I don't think the Beatles hold the same weight that they did even a decade ago.
Yeah.
To the music industry. I would love to get your opinion on that.
No, I think people see them as like you were saying, like the legacy act, and like a lot of people don't really discover the Beatles. It's more like their parents like taught them the Beatles, and then it's passed down generation.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why it's not as significant. Shoot,
Because I don't think kids are as connected to their parents' music tastes as they used to.
Yeah. And also like as it's gone through so many generations, like each generation has found their own music. So then the Beatles get slowly pushed out.
Which is wild to me because like growing up I was always seen as the Beatles were the pinnacle of popular music, and now I don't think that viewpoint is held so much in our generation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel that, but it's also like it's always like I've had this conversation with so many people. If the Beatles were an act today, and like they just came out brand new, would they even make it in the modern music industry?
That's a paradox because would 90% of popular music today even exist without the Beatles?
Yeah.
So that's like
today wouldn't even exist without the Beatles.
That's such a deep rooted like time like loop warp paradox situation.
It's crazy to think that, and we kind of just witnessed it at the Grammys, that the Beatles aren't at like the top of the top even nowadays, even though they had so many hits.
Yeah. I mean, the movie Yesterday seems to claim that no matter who's singing the Beatles songs, that they would be popular. I don't know about that, but you could take that with a grain of salt. I don't want to spend this entire... We're 11 minutes in. We've been talking about the Beatles. We could spend the whole episode probably talking. My mind goes to 12 different places as you're saying this. But I think the overall thing is that we're definitely in a different time here because this is the first time the Beatles have been like up for stuff and not immediately devoured their competition.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty significant moment in history, I think. There were some other big rock awards that were given out. We could talk about metal for a second. We were just talking about this before we started.
Yeah.
Give you your time.
Gojira
let Jonah, let's let you cook for a second. Thoughts on this?
Dude, I'm so excited that Gojira won the Grammy. I forgot which metal one it was for, but I was talking to so many of my friends and bands, and we did not want Metallica to win. Not because we don't like Metallica, because all of us love Metallica and would not be here without Metallica. But yeah, no, that last album was not it. Screaming Suicide, Gojira performing at the Grammys, that was badass, and that was one of the top and Gojira, all the hard work they've put in, and to them getting a Grammy, playing on the Olympics, being in mainstream media because of those two things as well. That's just awesome that's a win for the metal community as a whole.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think them acknowledging younger acts, which is kind of what we're talking about with the Beatles before, but like, because people automatically assume Metallica's in a category that they're gonna just win.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to establish that, because this is a whole episode in and of itself. So let's hold this for a later date. But like, just your quick opinion. We're going to do a deep dive on this. But rock and metal music today is 90% based on legacy acts. And it is surviving because of legacy acts. Completely. And the reason for that is the community is so gatekept, and it's so like nostalgia based, everything around it. Like the fandom, the way the fans think, we're at a period in time where it's so hard to break into it because people don't want to hear new stuff in this. They're not really open-minded at all. Whereas with pop music, it keeps ever evolving because people always want new shit.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, we could definitely spend a whole episode on that, because I have so many things to talk about. So
yeah,
before I just start spewing stuff out, we'll move on to the next thing, so then we could have a whole.
Here's the other one, and this is very similar to the Beatles, so we don't need to spend all day on this, but the Rolling Stones winning Best Rock Album.
That's crazy to me. I didn't listen to the Stones album.
Me either.
I remember seeing a couple clips of like music videos and being like, oh, this is all right.
Yeah.
But
a lot of time quantization and auto-tune, but sure. Other people, sorry, shots fired at the Stones. Other people in the category include the Black Crowes, Happiness Bastards, another legacy act. Pearl Jam, Dark Matter, another legacy act.
Yep.
Jack White, No Name, another legacy act. Fontaine's DC, which is the one new random left field that they always have to throw in. Romance, which I never heard of before a Rick Beato video the other day about the Grammys, and I don't exactly consider it. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but I don't exactly consider it rock. That's just like completely going against what I said 5 minutes ago. Idols, which I have heard, 10K, and Green Day Saviors. I think it's so obvious who deserved to win that in that category. I think the Stones were a purely political choice, a safe choice. I'm nothing against the Rolling Stones, but these aren't their classic albums. Like Saviors was the biggest record that Green Day has had in a really long time.
Yeah.
And Rolling Stones record was just another album of theirs. I mean, don't crucify me, but that's just my take. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is, but
no, I agree with that. I mean, I'd have to listen to the Rolling Stones album to like to really make an opinion, but I feel like you're correct with that. Saviors in Green Day's career has had a way bigger impact than the latest album in the Stones' career. Yeah. One thing I just realized, I don't remember if this qualifies for this Grammys or last Grammys, but the last Judas Priest album was that last year?
I think they won. I think Judas Priest won a Grammy this year. Wait,
did they?
Did they win, or were they nominated? I think they were nominated. I don't think they won.
I don't know. Because listening to the Judas Priest album, that was a killer album.
The Judas Priest record was great. I remember when that came out. That was like a big deal. That's kind of all for rock. We could talk about alternative, but St. Vincent won all of them.
Yeah.
So there's really no point, which is to me was fair, because I went through the other nominated. St. Vincent had her, what was the band last year that we talked about that won all the awards? Boy Genius, right?
Yeah, Boy Genius.
Yeah, I remember if you want to watch our last year's Grammy review, we did a whole episode about that. There were some pretty hot takes, just as I'm sure there will be. There already are, and there will be in this episode. So let's get to the part that everybody's been waiting for. even though we're a rock podcast. And that's another thing in and of itself that we need to talk about, is the fact that this is all we have to talk about for the rock and metal in the Grammy Awards, because that's all that they gave us. Because they don't care.
It's not even in the show, right? It's in the pre-show.
No, it's a pre-show, which, by the way, I watched both the entire pre-ceremony and the actual ceremony. The pre-ceremony is so much better in terms of quality of musicianship, the people who win the awards, the performances. It's so much better because they have the actual musicians, because they don't want to showcase the people who are the most talented in the industry on live TV. They want to showcase the people they're going to be the most draw and view for them. And this is not me knocking pop music, because I think there were some great moments in pop music this year. And I thought the Grammys this year were better than they have been. I noticed they've been getting better every year. And this is going to be another hot take. I fully believe that is because of that is fully due to the lack of trap rap in popular music anymore.
Yeah. No, I was just about to say, popular music, in my opinion, has been getting so much better. And that corresponds with you. Like, I don't like that trap rap. So the less of that and more.
Here's a little secret, Jonah. Let me tell you a little secret. Most people don't, because it's crap. I'm sorry, but the Megan Thee Stallions, the Cardi B, I can't fucking stand that shit. The Ice Spice. What the fuck is Ice Spice? We could have a whole episode of me ranting about Ice Spice.
I think we've already had an episode of you ranting about Ice Spice.
You know what? You're right, because oh my god, I'm gonna have the worst X feuds with Ice Spice one day. I'm just document that now, and I'm fully ready to have these full-on Twitter wars, because that's what they've been known as for years, even though it's not Twitter. Full-on Twitter wars with rap stars one day. I'm documenting it now. That being said, let's talk about some of the biggest moments. Speaking of rap, and someone who I think is immensely talented in the rap space, and I do agree with you on this, Kendrick Lamar. I think Kendrick Lamar is extremely talented. I love rap. Don't get me wrong. I love rap music. I just don't like this genre of rap that is zero effort, zero musicality. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you can't even tell the words.
What I'm saying. Yes. Kendrick Lamar is a genius, though. Not more of a genius than Paul McCartney and John Lennon. We're going to fight about that later. But Kendrick Lamar is a genius. He's going to be doing the Super Bowl, which we're probably going to talk about in the next episode. That being said, thoughts on the Kendrick Lamar sweep at the end of the show?
I thought that was hilarious, because I saw the clip when he was walking up on stage and the entire crowd was singing Not Like Us, which, for those of you who don't know, I would be surprised if you don't know what the whole deal with Not Like Us is. Like, it's
the Drake thing?
I forget how long ago it was, but Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick freaking destroyed him.
That's no contest. Yeah. That's no contest, because it's no contest.
Yeah, but Kendrick completely destroyed Drake, Not Like Us, which was topping the Billboard charts for so many weeks consecutively.
True.
And then wins 5 Grammys while he's walking up the entire stadium full of his peers are singing along to it, and you hear them in the background trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor.
Oh my
Drake's
God.
done. How do you come back from that?
No, his career's over. And you know what?
And he's going to play it at the Super Bowl for sure.
And you know what? And this is another hot take here. You're getting a lot of them today. Drake has been phoning it in for like a decade at this point. He's been contributing to the horrible culture of that trap rap that we were just talking about for at least since COVID. And I'm okay with no more Drake, because in my opinion, he gave up a long time ago and has stopped producing quality music even longer than that.
I'm gonna be honest, I can't even name a single Drake song.
Hotline Bling.
I'm sure if you played it, I'd recognize it.
You used to call me on the cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
Late out when you need my... That was huge. And I have to admit,
I'll be honest, I didn't know that was Drake.
I got down to that one. They had a lot of... Early on in his career, he had some good hits. Like, Just Hold On, We're Going Home. You know that song? I like that song. But, like, he stopped singing in his songs. And he just started completely... It was incoherent, mumbling, freaking cicada hi-hat beats. Very just copy and paste. As Lars Ulrich would say, it's fucking stock. And that, I think, is what contributed to it. That being said, we're going to talk about some other big moments in pop music, because we can talk about the whole Kendrick Lamar thing all day. I think he deserved to win. There was a couple times I was upset. Like, there were some other people I wish had won a Grammy, but I understand why he won, if that makes sense. I want to talk about a couple other Grammy winners and get your take. Speaking of rap, someone who I think is actually taking the rap space into really like is kind of a mixture of the modern thing, but is very musical, like 90s rap, and kind of reminds me of like a little bit of like pulling from those Missy Elliott, Biggie kind of influences is Doechii. I had never heard her music before.
Think I've heard of her.
I think you should listen to her biggest hit this year. Her album's called something about Crocodile Bites. I don't remember what it's called, but it's really cool. The instrumentation is very, like I said, that 90s rap kind of thing. It's a lot with very modern lyrics. I think she's a very dynamic performer. And it's refreshing to see something like that in the hip hop space. We can talk about another thing I thought was pretty big is Billie Eilish walked away empty handed.
That's crazy.
Thoughts on this?
That's crazy that Billie Eilish walked away with no Grammys. Because from what I've heard and what
that's
I've
the
heard,
first time that's
what
ever
I've heard
happened
from
in
the
her
new
career.
album. Yeah, and her new album was pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to the whole thing, but all the songs that I heard, I thought were pretty solid. And I've had so many friends that have told me like this album is one of her best. It keeps up with the rest of her catalog.
Yeah, I think the problem here is Billie took like it's just her moment was too long. This is another thing that the Grammys need to pick up on and recognize and realize that they do, because I don't think they realize they do it. But they nominate these people who have like at the beginning of the eligibility period. They nominate these people who put out music right at the beginning of that. 90% of the time, the people who put out music early on in the eligibility period never win. Because it's not what's hot right now in this moment.
Yeah.
And I think that she was a victim of that this year.
Yeah,
I'm going to be fully honest about that. But the Grammys need to recognize that they do that because it's really unfair, and then it really pushes people to wait and hold off on releasing music so that they have a better shot. Because that happened to Olivia Rodrigo with Guts. She put it out way too early in the eligibility period. Michael Jackson Bad was a whole other thing, but that was a factor of that.
Excuse me.
Billie Eilish now. It's happened many times where I'll even go, I'm guilty of this too, but I'll even be like, oh my God, I forgot that came out this year. That came out this year. I thought that was last year. So I think that's what happened here. So yeah, I don't know how Billie Eilish feels about that, but this is pretty significant because she usually sweeps. And this was an empty-hander for her. I'm sure you've seen the pictures of Jaden Smith's house on his head outfit.
Don't even know. What was that?
You saw that, right?
Bro didn't want to get slapped like Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
Speaking of Will Smith, can we talk about how Will Smith was the most prominent figure of the Quincy Jones tribute? Did you hear about that?
No. Really?
Will Smith led the entire thing and came up and spoke 3 separate times within the tribute. And everyone acted like nothing had ever happened.
That's crazy.
Which, I'm going to say, I'm not a fan of cancel culture, so it's not like I'm not okay with that, but I'm just shocked with the way that Hollywood is, that the Grammys act like Will Smith has been the same Will Smith that he was before the infamous slap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just shocked that didn't end his career.
Did Will Smith work a lot with Quincy Jones?
He was the executive producer of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Quincy Jones was, and he had some cool stories about that, which I thought was cool.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but speaking of which, that was a great tribute. I thought Janelle Monáe did a great job with the Michael Jackson stuff. Cynthia Erivo goes without saying always. She's 11 out of 10 vocals with the Sinatra stuff. I thought the Herbie Hancock and Stevie Wonder thing was out of this world. You should watch that, actually, Jonah. It was amazing. Let's talk about Chappell Roan for a second. Thoughts on just in general? I think I personally,
I think she's a great songwriter. Yeah, I think it's cool the vision she has for her.
I think she's Gen Z's Lady Gaga. In my opinion,
I think she's awesome. Their songs are super catchy. I mean, when you have Billy Joe complimenting your songwriting, because I saw a clip where he was like, "Hot to Go." He was like, "Hot to Go" is such a good song, and that's the dude that has written so many hits. Yeah, that, in my opinion, that's when you know that you're a good songwriter.
Yeah, and I think speaking on that too, if we're talking about Olivia and Chappell, the common thread there is Dan Nigro, who won Producer of the Year this year. I think very fitting. Yeah. I think he's the best pop producer right now in the industry. I mean, those are his 2 artists, and they're like both the highest, in my opinion, like some of the highest quality pop music today.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love that like more anthems are coming back to pop, because that's what was missing for a long time. Like Hot to Go, Pink Pony Club, Olivia Rodrigo's songs. They're very anthemic.
They get the crowd together.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what I love about like early 2010s pop and late 2000s pop.
Yeah.
Everything was just an anthem.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Though that was a
And that's like all the
anthem era.
all the 80s rock and metal songs. People love those because they were anthems and they were fun and everyone was having a good time. So I like Chappell Roan.
Me too. Yeah. Speaking of Chappell Roan, when she won her Grammy Award, she used her speech to ask record labels to form a union and give living wage and healthcare to artists. Thoughts on this?
I thought that's a pretty bold move, especially as a new artist. But I respect it. I respect it because a lot of people know musicians don't get paid shit. Like
facts.
And it's hard to make it as an artist, and a lot of it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication and knowing the right people to get to a certain point in your career where it's sustainable. So I respect her, like even like being as big as she is, to go out and say that on national television. Or I think it's Grammys are on national television, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
On national television and calling out problems in the music industry.
100%. I agree. Especially because of the way the system is. Like you said, it's impossible to make money just because streaming, the cost of putting on a live show, and it really just, they're lucky if you break even. It's really all merchandise, and there's only so much of that you can do because of your fan base size and how much people, your fans, how much money they have, depending on your demographic. So that being said, I think a union is very smart. I mean, this is coming from someone who I'm in the acting world, both theater and film, and we have union. We have unions.
Musicians.
Why is there no musicians union?
Yeah.
The only person struggling more than a up and coming actor is an up and coming musician. Why is there no union? It doesn't make any sense to me. And it should be like the actors union. Like, you have the choice to join if you want to. And yeah, it's going to limit. There's going to be. So I think the reason it hasn't happened yet is because, and this is, I think, a good place for us. I think we're going to have to do a part 2 of this episode. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. Even if we have to stop filming right now and film another episode. But the thing is, like, I want to get your opinion on this. There's going to have to be some sort of agreement. Because, like, in the actors, I don't know how much you know about SAG or about the actors union.
I don't know much.
Okay. So how it works is you can join the actors union. However, you can only take equity contracts, which only means you can only work certain jobs. So you can't work non-union jobs. So, for example, like in theater, you can't work at a non-equity theater. You can't not work at and you can't take a non-equity contract. So in the music industry, that would probably translate to playing live. You can only play certain venues because they're covered by the union. So I want to get your thoughts, knowing that realistic you think that it is for this to happen.
Yeah, I didn't know that was how that worked, but
yeah,
that would definitely change a lot. And I feel like if a union did form, there would be like a year or two period where the music industry would just be kind of in shambles, trying to adjust, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like it's not already, but
yeah. Well, it's always gonna be in shambles, but because everything's gonna have to kind of be brought down and leveled, and then build from the ground up, like how everything is run. I think that's what would probably have to happen. Because I couldn't see something like that being implemented and then it goes straight into it. Like, there's gonna have to be a lot of planning, which in the music industry is kind of hard to do, to change stuff.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Here's another thing I want to touch on. We have some more time. We could probably make this a 45-minute one.
Yeah,
because we have some things to talk about here. I want to get your opinion on this. Benson Boone, I thought, was robbed, especially because considering the fact that he was only up for one award, which was New Artist, which he didn't win, which I think, who won?
Was it
Chappell?
Yeah.
It was Chappell, which I understood that. But why was Benson Boone not nominated for Song of the Year, for Record of the Year? Beautiful Things was the biggest song, was literally the most streamed song of 2024.
That's crazy. I don't know. Wait, how does that song go? I don't really.
That's the please stay, I want you, I need you, oh God. That song was not nominated for anything.
That's crazy. I feel like because it's like we've been saying about the Grammys, they go for the people who really sell, and I feel like a lot of people know that song but don't know Benson Boone.
That's fair.
Like, and that's
I'm personally,
that's like me.
I know, I understand what you're saying. I'm personally a huge Benson Boone fan as a whole. Like, I thought his album was incredible. Fireworks and Rollerblades. I thought it was amazing. But Like, I get what you're saying. That song was bigger than the entity itself. Like,
Yeah.
so I get what you're saying. Like, you didn't even know that was the name of the song.
Yeah,
That's the
I
point.
didn't know the name of the song. I didn't know who wrote that. But as soon as you said it, I knew exactly what song you were talking about.
Fair. Okay, I agree with you on that. See, I'm open-minded. I can change my viewpoint on things. The Weeknd came back to the Grammys. Thoughts on that?
That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that he was gone. I kind of know. You
so
can
many.
tell that
We're gonna get
you can tell that I
crucified for
listened
this
to
episode,
a
Jonah. We're gonna get
lot of rock.
crucified for this episode.
I listen to rock music a lot. I listen to pop music sometimes. I don't keep up to date with pop music.
That's fair. I think I do because I just feel like I just have a foot in each world. But yeah, I didn't even know that he was boycotting the Grammys, to be honest.
No, I didn't
I never
know that.
noticed he was gone. That's gonna sound bad to say, but that being said, there were some other things. It's like Sabrina Carpenter. I thought she had like the biggest year ever. That's kind of like my
she
guilty
had
pleasure
such a-
music. I'm
she's
not even
like-
gonna lie. I think Short and Sweet was really good, and
Short
I
and
vibe
Sweet
out.
was great. Don't feel guilty about that.
Okay, good, because I vibe out to every single one of those songs.
Yeah.
And I get shit from it from my family all the time. But listen, they're bangers.
Yeah,
period.
a good song is a good song.
Yes.
That's
She
my
knows how
thought.
to write. She knows how to write hits.
Her songs are catchy, and also her lyrics are hilarious. And
They are funny,
That's my
yes.
style of writing. So
That's fair. I'm the kind of that's the kind of music that I have I have music that I focus intently on. Like when I listen to John Mayer music, I'm analyzing
Yeah.
every chord change, every
Yeah.
lyric, like how it connects to me personally and what it means in the scope of the universe. So there's just like that music to me. And then there's mindless vibing, and that's Sabrina to me. And I need that kind of music for my life. Like Limp Bizkit is like that to me too. Just music I can shut my brain off to. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know exactly what you mean, dude. It's
yeah.
the reason for me. It's the reason a lot of like boy band songs would get stuck in my head because they're
Facts.
written to be bangers, and
Yeah.
they're not supposed
written,
to make you think.
They're not written.
They're supposed to just
they're not,
be
they're not.
good
They're not
songs.
conversations around the dinner table kind of
Yeah.
music.
That's not
There
like,
you heard it here
I like
first.
that
Sabrina
part that was in
Carpenter
3,
and
4.
Fred
Yeah.
Durst. Fred Durst and Sabrina Carpenter of the same league. You heard it here first. And there's a lot of other moments we could talk about at the Grammys. Olivia Rodrigo was there. I took notice. But the last thing we're going to talk about here is, I don't want any flames from the Olivia Rodrigo fans. So that's
You don't
all I'm
want
going to say.
those people up.
No, I don't. I've done that very well. But the thing that I want to touch on here, and I think this is the thing that this is probably the most controversial move of the night. And I think you know what I'm going to talk about. Beyonce winning country album and album of the year. Go.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it. Like I know the Texas Hold'em song, and I feel like
They say Texas, Park Your Lexus.
Yeah,
Brilliance.
I feel like what should I say about? I feel like
Let it loose, Jonah.
the Grammys.
Let yourself be free.
yeah. Yeah,
You don't want to piss off the beehive. I get it.
Yeah. I feel like this encapsulates what we've been saying about the Grammys, and we're just like crapping on the Grammys the entire time. We're never gonna get nominated for Grammys at this point.
We're not, but it's okay. I don't care.
Yeah, I feel like one of the reasons that she got I feel like she got the Grammys. Well, first of all, the legacy that she's had, and also to get the titles that was her first time winning album of the year. So I feel like that was one of the deciding factors that went into it. But yeah, I think that was just like classic Grammys.
It was a classic Grammys move, and I'm going to say something here that I've said a lot of hot takes today, but this is going to be my biggest one. Album of the year, I'm kind of okay with, because let me put it this way. Cowboy Carter was a huge record last year. Like, there's no denying that. The cultural significance of it and what it was to pop culture. She has a huge fan base. Obviously, if Jay-Z didn't make that speech last year, making shots at the Grammys for never giving her album of the year, it probably wouldn't have happened. But nevertheless, it's debatable that it would have. Like, there's at least a debate that she might have won it anyway.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I think Lemonade was a much better album and deserved to win then. But nevertheless, I understand that point of view. It's the country album of the year that irks me, because the people she was up against, like Lainey Wilson, is super talented from like the middle of the country. She's what country music is about. Her lyrics, the songs themselves, her story, where she comes from, her lifestyle, like everything about her is country. Everything about Chris Stapleton is country. And it pisses me off because I feel like country is one of the, kind of like rock a little bit, but not so much, but is one of the few pure genres left, like that's really just about the music and the culture, and it hasn't really changed, and what it's always been about is what it's still about. And country music is a very specific thing. And when you start, if you listen to Cardboard, because you said you haven't listened to it, if you listen to the album, there are hip hop songs, there are R&B songs on that album. Like,
so it's not
album of the year
country.
is one thing. It's not a country album even. There's like two or three country songs on, and she's wearing a cowboy hat. That's not a country album.
Yeah, that's not country. So
this was a purely political, probably financial too, because we're dealing with billionaires here, motivated decision. There's other things I could say that I might get very much in trouble for if I do. So I'll try to leave it at that. I was going to make some kind of joke about Diddy. I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's not. But that's kind of the sums up. And I think that's a good place to end the Grammys on, because it kind of encompasses, especially the country album of the year, what the Grammys are and what it's a dog show pageant.
At the end of the day, it's a show for views. Like that's what it is.
It's what's going to get us the most views, what's going to be most talked about online, who's giving us the most money, and who has the most influence over the board. That's really what it comes down to. Like, it's a total popularity contest. If it was about quality, there would be totally different people nominated and winning, but it's not. So, and the thing is that they try to make that argument by throwing in a couple of people here and there who don't fit any of that popularity criteria, and then they try to claim that they're about artists. And they say, we've made, like when the Weeknd, for example, when he performed, they're like, listen, he left because of things that he voiced that he felt like we weren't doing good enough, and we've made changes over the years. And you've made changes, but I feel like they're not, like, I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't want this to turn into a political discussion, so you can crucify me in the comments all you want. But I just feel like they're focusing on all the wrong things and the things they think are going to win them points rather than the things that they should actually be changing.
I think that's valid. That's valid. Because, I'll just leave it at that.
No, come on. You're just going to leave me hanging there. That being said, that was the Grammys. We were supposed to talk about Fire Aid, and we were supposed to talk about one of the biggest band reunions in a very long time, but I don't think we have time for that.
Yeah,
so
we'll do that next time.
That's more content. I hope you enjoyed I guess this was our 2025 Grammy review. I got some really fun projects in the works. I'm working on Disney's Descendants, the musical at Argyle Theater on Long Island. I'm going to be doing it for months from now until like the beginning of April. So if you want to see ticket information, link is in my bio. Nick Valley Official on Instagram. That's kind of what I'm working on. I got some new music I got cooking up. Jonah and I have a special thing that we have to talk about after we stop filming this. Jonah, you said you have some things lined up. You were telling our viewers.
We have shows with Jinx. We have shows with X-Vamin. We have a new single out with X-Vamin called Voyage Unknown. There's a music video. Go check it out. We're super proud how everything turned out. Just check the X-Vamin and Jinx Instagrams for shows near you.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, until next time, my name is Nick Valley.
My name is Jonah Dokanai, and
this is Revolution.